Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. My name is Sabrina Vorbau, and I'm very happy to guide you through today's event. Welcome to the Safer Internet Forum 2020. A special week within a special year is ahead of us, and this year's edition of the Safer Internet Forum will focus on digital disadvantages, creating an inclusive world for children and young people online. The main event of the Safer Internet Forum will take place tomorrow, the 25th of November, during which Professor Laura Lundy will discuss the challenges and opportunities that children with diverse disabilities encounter when accessing and using the digital environment. In addition, a number of deep dive sessions will complement the main focus of the forum, which will take place tomorrow and on Thursday. Alongside the main event, additional side events will take place, providing opportunities for stakeholder engagement and exchange. One of these side events will take place on Friday, the 27th of November, focusing on the EU strategy for a more effective fight against child abuse and the recent findings of the BIK policy map, an exercise which seeks to compare and exchange knowledge on policy making and implementation of the BIK strategy in the EU member states. During this session, we will also have an opportunity to explore the outcome in a more global context. Another side event will focus on BIK Youth, and you guys have just signed up for this morning. Before we kick off with that, let me just say that we have received over 600 registrations, which is absolutely fantastic and shows how important the topic of this year's forum is. We will hear from many stakeholders, speakers, and panelists, but we also encourage every one of you to use the chat function to communicate with each other, and also the Q&A box at the bottom to raise your questions to the speakers and panelists. In addition, also please be aware that we will publish some best practice guidelines later in December, and that the focus of the upcoming BIK Bulletin will also evolve around the Safer Internet Forum, the discussions and the outcomes. In addition, we will also be able to provide closed captioning and sign language interpretations for the sessions tomorrow and on Thursday. That said, I welcome everyone to this first side event of SIF 2020, which will focus on BIK Youth. Over the years, BIK Youth and the intervention of young people from around Europe has become the highlight at every Safer Internet Forum. And I'm very delighted to say that we have a great lineup of young people with us this morning in the form of two panel discussions talking about the BIK Youth Pledge, an initiative that was launched by 6 youth ambassadors on Safer Internet Day 2020, and a presentation by the always amazing BIK Youth panel, which this year composes of 48 young people between the age of 12 to 18 years old from 14 different European countries. However, before we kick off and give the voice to the young people, I'm delighted to welcome June Laurie Kingston, the Head of Unit for Accessibility, Multilingualism and Safer Internet at DG Connect of the European Commission. June, it's very good to have you with us this morning and officially open the first side event. The floor is yours. Please unmute yourself.
You see, failed the first test, so that's permission for everyone else to mess up technically now I've done it. I'm sure you're going to be great from now on. So good morning, everyone from across the world, as we can see in the chat function. And good morning, dear BIK Youth ambassadors. It's a real pleasure for me to be here with you today. And what better way to start the week of the Safer Internet Forum than with the session organised by and really dedicated to young people. Because nothing in the field of online safety should happen without you, the young users. We have you in mind when we create our policies, formulate our laws, design our services and products, or we should have, and not just to be woke and politically correct. Let's remind ourselves of Article 24 of the EU's Charter of Fundamental Rights, remembering that in legal speak, shall means must, and children means under 18s. So I'm going to read the article. Children shall have the right to such protection and care as is necessary for their well-being. They may express their views freely. Such views shall be taken into consideration on matters which concern them in accordance with their age and maturity, and continuing in all actions relating to children, whether taken by public authorities or private institutions, the child's best interests must be a primary consideration. So you must be consulted on matters that have a direct impact on your lives. And according to Wikipedia, which is clearly the authoritative source of all knowledge nowadays, you are officially digital natives growing up in the digital age, born, if you like, with a mobile phone or a tablet in your hand. And your experience of the digital space is clearly very different to mine, a digital immigrant, someone born well before the advent of the internet, in a world that was dominated then by television and print. So on digital matters, my generation, all adult generations, can only learn from you. Now, as you well know, with digital opportunities come digital risks. And that's where we, the adults, the policymakers, want to give you a helping hand and share guidelines with you. And sometimes you might have the impression that we just don't get it and we just don't understand you. But let me assure you that however misguided we may at times be, we are well intentioned. We want to create a digital environment which meets your needs, from fun to education, from social interaction to creative expression. And only you know what you really need. Now, your commitment, the group of 40 odd of you today, to the BIK Youth Ambassador Scheme and BIK Youth panels is a remarkable and a wonderful example of active youth participation. And every year, as Sabrina said, the BIK Youth Ambassadors meet up in person, or this year across the airwaves, to discuss and share experiences and ideas and opinions. And every year we learn from you, and this session really is one of the highlights, the highlight, if not, of the Safer Internet Forum. Your engagement clearly demonstrates that you want to be actively involved in making decisions for yourselves and your communities, both online and offline, and that you are more than capable of doing so. As BIK Youth Ambassadors, you're the voice not only of yourselves, but of your siblings, your peers, your friends, your community, your generation across Europe. And as this recent experience working for today has hopefully shown, you can use digital technologies to make that voice stronger, to really influence the political agenda and global movements. And I trust that with the BIK Youth Pledge, we are taking another meaningful step towards active youth participation. You have contributed through this initiative to shaping a better, a safer, a more inclusive digital environment, and you've challenged industry to move beyond the status quo. And I must thank the EU team, in particular Sabrina and Hans, for making this year's Youth Pledge such a success, despite all the unexpected challenges of COVID. In a few months, Hans and Sabrina and the team at EUN came up with a totally new plan for this initiative, and also managed to work with the 6 companies, all members of the Alliance to Better Protect Minors Online, on these BIK Youth Pledge activities, and we warmly thank you for that. This year, we've all faced a complete turnaround in the way we live and work and study. And the COVID pandemic has forced us all to depend on technology for nearly all aspects of our life, at least at times. And impressively, these digital natives have shown that you can interact and discuss and share and push important initiatives like this to the next level despite these challenging circumstances. So thank you for that. Now, on Safer Internet Day last February, which feels like decades ago, not just months ago, some of us were in the room with you at the Berlaymont building. Remember when we could do that? And we listened to you and your ideas. And we were all really impressed by how easy and natural it seemed for you. It seemed, whether you felt nervous or not, it didn't show, for you to stand up for yourselves and your peers. You were clear, you were frank, you weren't intimidated by the big industry players in the room physically with you then. And your constructive comments then became the foundation for all the subsequent Youth Pledge work and for future improvements. Now, this morning is yours, and I would just like to say a few words to the industry representatives around the virtual table with us here this morning. Consult your young users, and not just today, but regularly, as some of you do already. Let this Youth Pledge really be a starting point. Listen to the voices and the views of young people at every stage of your work, from design through implementation to operation. And make your products and services user-friendly, child-friendly, and age-appropriate. Because respecting your users' rights could just mean winning their trust and for life. So why not make young users part of safety by design teams and involve them consistently? Active participation in society by young people in public debate is crucial. We cannot, and as we heard from the Charter, we should not make policy and decide about the present and the future of young people without consulting their views, especially when as digital natives they have this unique and uniquely valuable point of view. Their voice matters, and we should never ignore it. So without further ado, I pass the floor over to the BIK Youth Ambassadors. Over to you.
Thank you very much, June, for these very supportive welcome words. This is much appreciated. And as you said, with any further ado, I'm happy to introduce the chairs of the first panel discussion around the BIK Youth Pledge, Liliane Leiser, who is a BIK Youth Ambassador from Austria, and Katrin Morasch, BIK Youth Ambassador from Germany. The floor is yours.
I would like to start my video, but it seems that it isn't possible. I'm so sorry. But I will start either way. I think you can hear me. So thank you, Sabrina, and thank you, June, for your encouraging words. Okay, I can start my video now. Okay, so hello. Okay, thanks again, June, for your encouraging words. And also big thank you from our side that we had the chance to work with you on the Youth Pledge and that we had the chance to work with all the companies. I think we really did learn something from each other. And this bottom-up way of working is something you don't find quite often in a project. So it was really fun. And I'm really excited to hear from our representatives from Samsung, Twitter, Zulake, and FSM today about their ideas and their ways of youth participation. Still, there is a long way to go to get more young people across Europe into the position they need to have a proper say and achieve more age-appropriate services. And I'm really looking forward on the work which will happen today, this week, and in the next months. And one more request before we start, or rather a hint maybe, please just put all your questions and remarks in the Q&A tool and the chat, and we will come back to that later. But now over to Lily for our first panelists.
Thanks, Catherine. So we will jump right into our panel and start with Samsung. For Samsung, we will now hear Francesca, who is the Corporate Social Responsibility Manager, and she will present the work that has been done together with the young people. So Francesca?
Yes, can you hear me well? Perfect. So good morning, everyone, and thanks a lot, Lily and Catherine, for the introduction. You can go to the first slide, please. So when it comes to online safety, we start always from the principle that we all use digital devices to access the internet, but obviously we all have different needs, different knowledge, different skills, and different habits. So acknowledging this diversity obviously is a great first step, but we understand that a responsible company must really create a dialogue with the different target groups, including youth, as June just mentioned, to provide the best and the safest service to them. Samsung understands that youth is using our products to access the internet, to access social media platforms and all sorts of applications, and could potentially be exposed to harmful contents and behaviors. With this in mind, we have decided to join the Youth Pledge, really to open up a genuine dialogue with young people like herself, to understand how we can better create awareness and understanding of how to use our devices thoughtfully and safely. Next slide, please. We committed to act on 3 different fronts. The first being to prepare young people with the digital skills needed to be confident users of technology. The second being to provide knowledge and tools that are needed to use our technology in stewardship of a sustainable lifestyle and in full safety. And the third one being to protect young people from harmful contents and behavior, and this through the use of educational activities, dialogue, and tech solutions. Next slide, please. As part of our pledge, we have decided to organize an ad hoc series of workshops with students, starting in Poland as pilot country and then moving on to other regions. We decided to adopt a 2 phases approach. The first focus on introducing the process and do a first brainstorm with young people. And the second one to better define the most relevant problems and what is the best solution or solutions according to young people. In September, we have organized 2 workshops in our EduLab in Warsaw, where we invited 36 students from 7th and 8th grade, so 12 to 14 years old, who were divided in 8 groups. During the workshop, we adopted a design thinking method, and we asked the young people present to think about a challenge, which is raising awareness about digital well-being. This obviously is a quite broad topic, but we really wanted young people to freely identify what are the issues that matter the most in this domain. We have invited experts to introduce the topic, and we have also presented first the tools and the tech solution that Samsung already offers to young people, for example, our kids' home or digital well-being feature. After this introduction, kids were asked to reflect on the subject, and we also asked them to think about it from different perspectives. So the one of their peers, their teachers, and their parents. This exercise was successful and led to identify 3 main problems that they thought they were the most important to them. One being online contact with people they do not know. The second one being online hate. And the third being controlling the time they spend online. Next slide, please. So they proposed a series of potential measures to solve the problem that you can see on the screen, which are a lot. So I'm not asking you to read them right now, but you could do it at a later stage. But in any case, this really created a good basis for a discussion and for the second session that we organized this time online. Next slide, please. During the online workshop, these 36 students split this time in 2 groups and decided to focus on 2 out of the 3 problems that they previously identified. So they decided to focus on controlling the time they spend online and hate on the internet. They also decided that the first and easier step to start with was to develop some educational and communications tools that they want to use to help their peers and their parents to deal with these 2 issues. They came up with a series of tips and tricks that you can see on the screen, and we decided to feature these tips and tricks on infographics that will be widely distributed as part of an awareness raising campaign with parents and pupils in Poland. To conclude this quick introduction, I would like to share with you a part of a nice summary video that my Polish colleagues put together during the workshop in Warsaw. I can share the video.
Zgłosili wiele ciekawych pomysłów, a jednocześnie rozwiązania, jak tym problemom zapobiegać i jak je rozwiązywać.
Moja grupa zaprojektowała aplikację dotyczącą hejtu. Aplikacja ta miała na celu usuwanie negatywnych komentarzy, żeby po prostu osoba korzystająca z telefonu się nimi nie przejmowała.
Czyli sami wymyśliliśmy te rozwiązania dotyczące na przykład długości korzystania z jakichś urządzeń elektronicznych, hejtu.
Dużo się wypowiadaliśmy, ale dużo też robiliśmy w grupach i przez to mogliśmy zacisnąć więź ze sobą.
Better Internet for Kids oznacza dla mnie również lepszą przyszłość w internecie. To może być również rewolucja dla przyszłych pokoleń.
Warsztaty były prowadzone przez Samsunga.
Bardzo dużo się nauczyłem na tych zajęciach, dużo ciekawych nowych informacji.
We could stop the video here.
Jesteśmy super koszulki.
Then we will send you the link, so if everyone wants to see, but it's a quite long video, so this was just some of the highlights.
Thank you, Francesca. It was really nice to see and hear the young people talk. I was just wondering the ideas they developed. What are you doing with them? What are your future milestones when it comes to working with the young people?
So this was honestly a very successful exercise, and our plan is to replicate the same type of exercise in other countries. The next geographical area will be the Baltic states, and we've actually already started with Lithuania, organizing a first workshop for phase 1. We will do basically the same type of activity. So first gathering ideas and then asking them to propose some solutions. And obviously it will be interesting for us to see whether in different countries the type of problems and solutions and also requests to companies are similar or they're very different. And the ultimate goal will be to really have a good overview from different countries across Europe so that we will be able to use these to update the current educational tools that we have and the tech solutions. And obviously, if we see that there is something missing, eventually also to create new ones. And we really want to keep, as June said, this type of dialogue going because it's very beneficial to us.
Thank you. This kind of commitment makes me very happy as a youth ambassador. And just a quick question, maybe if someone's interested, what is one very good example of what surprised you when working together with you? So your best experience.
Yeah. We were surprised mostly about the fact that young people think that the role of parents is very relevant in this whole process. So we thought that maybe youth doesn't really want to share too much about what they do online. They do not like their parents to control what they do. But actually, they openly said that sometimes they just cannot control what, for example, how much time they spend online, or there are some issues that they might not understand very well, and on the internet you do not always find the right answers. So they said that they're open to talk to their parents, and that's why they also share some tips and tricks for the parents to understand that they have to put in their kids' shoes and really be open to talk with them about these issues. So it's something that surprises because we think that kids tend to leave their parents outside their private life, but it's not the case.
Thank you so much, Francesca.
You're welcome.
I'm giving the floor to you, Catherine.
Yes, and I'm giving the floor to Twitter, and I'm really happy to have Sylvia here today from Twitter. She's a senior public policy associate and among other stuff responsible for the hashtag.
So I guess we will move on now on to the initiative Super RTL. We have Lydia here on our panel. She's the senior manager for media literacy education at FSM. And FSM is especially dedicated to the protection of minors and to fight illegal content. So Lydia, we're very happy to have you here and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Lily and Katrin.
for the introduction, and also thank you to all BIK Youth ambassadors for having all of us and to discussing this important topic, and especially also to the many participants today here interested in this. We can quickly move on to the slides, to the next one. I just want to say my colleagues from Super RTL are very sad they can't be here today themselves, but Super RTL is a member of our NGO FSM, and so we work together initiating the BIK Youth Pledge. So I'm very glad and joyful to be presenting their first findings. Just a little bit of background. Super RTL is the most popular commercial entertainment company for children in Germany. They have a really broad portfolio of TV channels, websites, apps, and online games for children in the preschool and primary school age. And during this summer, they just launched a new, so to say, service. It's a Togo Radio, Children's and Family channel. And this is what we will be focusing on. We can move on to the next slide. I just want to show you a little bit that Super RTL has been doing a lot of research with children for many years. They have UX, so user experience laboratories in their offices, and they invite children into them and regularly collect feedback and work together with them and involve them in the process of product development. So on the next slide, you can even see how this process is working when they take all the involvement of children into account when they design new digital products. And they especially focus on linguistic questions. So what kind of language can children in the pre and primary school age understand? What right font size to use, how the amount of text has to be, how big, and also what kind of terms do children actually understand in this age. Now I want to give you a little bit of insight into the BIK Youth Pledge Challenge. They focused, as I already said, on the Togo Radio, the new children and family radio channel they just started in June 2020. And this channel is supposed to be child-friendly, but also be a way for the target group to be actively involved. So the radio station can be contacted by children. They can request songs and greet their friends and families, and also take part in challenges and games. And this is how it's done with this form you can now see on the slide. Children have the possibility to request these things, but then they have to give in their first name, for example, or a telephone number, and fill out the form. So the overall question of the BIK Youth Pledge Challenge was, how do children actually understand the form? Do they know what they are consenting? Do they know when to ask their parents, for example? And also very concrete, how must the Togo Radio form be designed so that children really understand what they accept and can make informed decisions? On the next slide, you can see how they invite children during the summer into the UX lab, and gathered a lot of opinions on the sensitive topics from children. And I can now give you a little bit of insight into the findings they made, which is the next slide, I think. So you can see here that they found out that children mostly just read the headline and then they skip right to the form below. So they don't read the text in between. And still without reading the text, they know what to do, but they sometimes struggle to fill out the form correctly, actually. And there's two checkboxes on the bottom of the form where they are asked for permission of their parents, and also they have to accept the privacy policy. And they found out that the children already at least know the terms, privacy policy or conditions of participation. And on the last slide, you see that they still found out that even though children know these terms, they don't really know what does it mean, what does it mean for them personally. So in the next step, Super RTL wants to focus on how to explain the purpose of these privacy policies in terms of participation. Children usually, a lot of children in the UX lab, they consulted their parents right away. But Super RTL wants in the next steps make sure that children themselves, even without the help of the parents, understand what they are checking and consenting. So they want to design a next playful workshop to redesign the form. So this would be the biggest aim in the end. Hopefully they can fulfill it before Safer Internet Day, because we have the Corona pandemic now, so they are not allowed and possible now to invite children into the UX lab at the moment. But this will be the overall aim to come up with a redesigned form children can fully understand and consent also themselves. Thank you. And also, I hope I can answer any questions you might have. But if I can't, because I'm not a representative of the company, I will obviously take it back. And maybe you can just know your email, and then my colleagues from Super RTL can also come back with an answer to you directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. It's so fun to hear about it, because I remember Super RTL and Togo from my childhood, but it has changed, of course. So I do have a question, maybe you can answer. Do you have the feeling that working together with young people in a long term leads to different results than working without them, or even maybe better results for long term?
Yes, so just coming back to what the colleagues from Super RTL are always telling us, which is very also fruitful for us in the media education work, for example. So we as an NGO can also learn from their findings, because they have been working together with children a long time and have been doing this continuously. So this is always very helpful to get feedback on how to address children properly, also when we want to teach about online safety, for example, and we come up with initiatives online or printed materials for teaching. So I would say that's definitely a huge plus, also from an NGO point of view and for a media literacy point of view. But I know you said yourself that you know already the channel. They have been around for a long time, and they have been very successfully also adopting during coming from being a TV broadcaster to now being a digital provider of all kinds of services for children. So you can see how it also helps them as a company, obviously, to know how children react to new services, what they need now, what do young people now want to do online, so they can also involve this knowledge to produce actual services and platforms children also nowadays want to use.
Thank you. I think it should be normal for a platform that does something for young people to listen to them as well. So it's very great that you're part of the BIK Youth Pledge. And thank you again for your presentation. And Catherine, I pass on to you again.
Yes, and I'm happy to welcome our last panelists. They are from Sulake, and the first one is Raquel. She's the Customer Experience and User Safety Director at Sulake, and she will be accompanied by Ekaterini. She's a law student at the University of Den Haag, but originally from Greece, and also accompanied by Juan Carlos, a Spanish teacher from Spain. Happy to have you here.
Thank you for the introduction. And good morning, everybody. So Sulake has joined the Youth Pledge initiative with its bot products, Hotel Hideaway, that is plus 17 years old, and also Habotel, that is plus 13 years old. Next slide, please. So the Sulake's challenge for the Youth Pledge is to empower users to make informed decisions when playing by increasing the transparency and the visibility of our terms and conditions. Next slide, please. Due to current circumstances, we decided to work with our own games users, and we organized a focus group of 10 users aged between 14 and 24 years old. And you can see them here in the picture in the project introduction meeting. Next slide, please. And we're going to share here with you their honest feedback about the terms and conditions, and I think can be also understood as the reasons why maybe you young people are mentioning that you usually don't read terms and conditions. So they told us that terms and conditions are too repetitive, too long, like reading the Quixote or Shakespeare, too complex terms, too many paragraphs, hard to find, too many clicks to get there, too legal. In their words, if I read it, I don't understand what it means, and I won't be able myself to say it in a different way. Too boring. They told us that you don't read what you find boring, and it's already assumed that any terms and conditions are going to be very boring. Does not fit in the game look and feel. Too much text, usually include more bullet points. Not engaging. Looks like for you, not only needs to be easy to understand, but also well embedded into the product, and also needs to gain your attention. So you are interested in learning what it is about. They told also that look all the same. So some participants said that if I read it for one service, then I'm done. I don't need to read it anywhere else because it's everywhere the same for in all the products. And then also useless. So you don't get anything of it. So what's the point of reading them? And then they have given us some readability improvement ideas. So next slide, please. So for example, to create a shorter version of the terms and conditions with more images, more bullet points, simpler tests. So you can see here a draft of how it will look like in practice. So it could mean to illustrate the key topics of the terms and conditions, so are super easy to understand. Also, next slide, please. Also, they suggested to create a short video explaining the most important topics of the terms and conditions, as similar to other videos we have created to fight against in-game bullying, etc. Next slide. They have also suggested us to create a game together with them, where you can learn about the terms and conditions, hot topics, while playing and winning something special. The part of winning something special seems to be key for them or for you. For example, if you pass the game, you will get a special badge that only those that have played the game can show in their avatars. And next slide, please. Also, they suggested us to train some users so they become terms and conditions ambassadors within the communities. So it will be a group of experienced users whose main mission will be to train other players on the terms and conditions basics, kind of peer-to-peer education project. And then last but not least, next slide, please. They suggested us to embed the terms and conditions into the game's tutorial of our achievements. So to create a specific task inside the game to go through the terms and conditions and earn badges or activity points. So basically to gamify the terms and conditions learning experience. And that's all from me. And it's my pleasure to be here today with two of the participants in the project. So you will have the opportunity to hearing also their direct feedback. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you, Lily. Catherine, I'm Juan Carlos. I'm from Jabo. And I think that the initiative that Zulek has had to have users to collaborate with them has seemed for me very, very positive as well as enriching. After all, the users are most in touch with the game. And personally, I have been able to work with the staff on more occasions within Jabotel, and it's always gratifying to be able to work with them and express our feedback. I think that this is very, very important, and this has a lot of impact on the Jabo community, since in this way the users feel heard by the staff. And I have had the opportunity, for example, to work with them when preparing activities for Safer Internet Day, as you have seen in the presentation, or important days such as LGBTIQ+ visibility. And also, I own a fan site within Jabo. A fan site is a website that performs activities and dynamics in the game. And almost everything we do is chosen by users through a survey. And this is just for one reason, because we all like to be here. And finally, indeed, I think that this must happen very, very, very often, since Jabo's target audience is young people. So therefore, what less than them to give their opinion and their assessment, right? And this is all for me, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all your speeches, and I'm really happy to be here. During those challenging times, even more youths and children, as defined by the chapter, use internet and, most important, like interactive platforms such as Sulaki, that you can exchange information with the other users. And it became even of a more significant importance for users to actually understand the terms and conditions, so they can actually behave inside of the game, and we do not have all those outcomes as described before by other presenters and panelists. And I consider the initiative that Sulake took to gain firsthand feedback by players who actually know the game and know what's happening inside the game in order to improve its terms and conditions. And all of the ideas to make the terms and conditions more engaging, I find them really important and actually really helpful, and it's a healthy way to improve how you interact with your users, because you're doing it from the inside and you're doing it from the eyes of the youth instead of people who are of a significant age and can understand the terms and conditions easier than a child or a youth would understand them. And I am really happy to be like part of this initiative. It's a really big step to make internet safer. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the whole Sulake team and to the whole panel. In terms of the time, I want just now to give over to the audience, but as we are not unmuting people, please just make sure to write your questions in the Q&A tool or in the chat. And I think we also have one question in the Q&A. I think, Lydia already answered it in the chat, but maybe Lydia, you can just like speak it out loud so everyone can hear it. The question was, what safeguards are in place around the forum and children sharing the data with the radio? And was that a part of the discussion in the feedback session?
Yes, sure. Thank you. I was just elaborating a little bit on the safeguards. So just to make this a little bit clearer, is that the only mandatory field in the form is the field about the first name of children and what the song they want to wish for or the greeting they want to send in. And there's another field where you can give your telephone number if you want the station to call you back and get more insights, or maybe an audio message or something. But this is optional. And this is also very important because then children are asked to get their parents, and their parents have to type in the phone number, not themselves, and they have to give consent to that. So this is a little bit of safeguards in place there, but definitely in the whole process of redesigning the form and the question of what kind of text are the children actually reading before they fill in the form. This is still a part of the whole workshop BIK Youth Pledge phase, so to say, part of the challenge which they still work on, and hopefully will be able to meet again with children before Safer Internet Day again and get their insights, or maybe even find ways to do research and interactivities with children that young. They are 6 to 11, so this is not an age where it's so easy to do maybe a digital online session as with here you today. So they have to find out ways and forms to still meet and interact with younger children and get their opinions, which is a little bit of a struggle, obviously.
Thank you, Lydia. Just a short question to Sabrina. You've been monitoring the chat. Has there been any questions so far?
Yes, we do have another question which is addressed to Francesca, and the question is coming from Marta from Belgium. She's asking, how have you or will you disseminate the outcomes of the workshop, and how did you reach out to children to invite them to participate in your workshop?
Yeah, I cannot switch on my video, but okay, you can hear me anyway. So we are planning communications activities on social media, and we're also planning to include these outcomes in the safety trainings that we organize on a regular basis with young people, with teachers, and with parents. And we're also going to include them in a specific local website that we have dedicated to online safety. As for the second question, we have already a quite big network of schools because our corporate citizenship activities have focused on education for quite a few years now. So we have used this big pool of students for the Youth Pledge, specifically because in this way we can combine our digital skills training that we provide with these trainings with activities related to online safety.
Thank you, Francesca. So as I've seen, there are no more questions in the chat or the Q&A. And in terms of the time, I just would giving over to Lily for the last round. But one more thing, if you have any more questions, just make sure to reach out to us. And I think we can also make sure that your questions will be answered afterwards. Lily.
So thank you so much, everybody. It is really a joy to listen to all the projects that you've been working on together with young people, basically just like us. For the end of our session, we would like every one of you to give us one short final sentence about your experience with the BIK Youth Pledge. Maybe let's stay to the order we had from the beginning on. So we will start with Samsung.
I'm back here. The video doesn't work again, but it's okay anyway. So I've opened the presentation really saying that for us it's crucial to understand users' needs, and in all honesty, being part of the Alliance to Better Protect Minors Online has really given us a unique opportunity to work with young people like yourself as peers and to work with you in a co-creation mode. And your contribution is honestly very inspiring and allows us to see our products from a different perspective and also to look at problems and solution with fresh eyes. So I'm sure that we will continue this collaboration because it's very beneficial both for us as a company and for young people as users.
Thank you. Let's move on to Twitter and on to Super RTL with Lydia.
Yes, thank you. I think one of the takings from this exercise, I would say, it's really interesting that even companies who do these kinds of research and involvement for a long time, they can still be, challenged again, and also now step into covering a really difficult topic of terms and conditions and privacy policies with primary school children's. But it works really well. And also on another side note, maybe that even if there's great tools and methodology in place already, that especially now in this pandemic situation, everyone is challenged again to find new ways to actually reach out to children and young people and to get their messages heard and their opinions, which they then hopefully really good implement really well into their products. Thank you.
Thank you. And one final sentence from Sulake.
So yeah, so these words are not only from me, but also from the team that participated in the initiative. So opening ourselves up to the opinions and thoughts of the young people has been eye-opening for us. You are provided with a better gaming experience, which is very helpful to improve our products according to your real needs. Working with young people has been rewarding and also sometimes challenging. and allows us to adapt to the new technology that you're using and prevent us from getting stuck in one thought process. Needless to say that we are really fortunate that our users are very passionate about our games and feel confident enough to share their thoughts with us, so that together we can come up with new ideas for the benefit of the whole community. Young people always challenge you to take one step further. We really appreciate your honest, direct, and inclusive approach, and also your team mindset. And last but not least, you are funny and enthusiastic. That makes the work much better. So we are looking forward to working together with you in future similar projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving us the opportunity in all these projects to just work together with you and really telling you our concerns and maybe dreams and wishes. And now we are passing on to the next part of the panel, and I am very, very excited to see the Better Internet for Kids Youth Panel of 2020. So Sabrina, I am passing on to you.
Thank you very much, Lily, and thank you very much to Katrin for sharing this very important discussion this morning. I hope everybody is applauding behind the screens now. It was a great kickoff of this Safer Internet Forum week, and I think we're all looking forward seeing where the BIK Youth Pledge will lead us, and certainly also already starting the celebration for the upcoming Safer Internet Day 2021. I would say let's keep the voice of the young people loud. And as Lily said, I'm very, very delighted now to hand over to the BIK Youth panelists of 2020. And first and foremost, I'm handing over directly to one of them, which is Ella. Ella, over to you, and thank you for being with us.
Hi guys, my name is Ella, and I'm one of the youngsters that has participated in the BIK Youth panel this fall. The panel has consisted of 48 youth participants from 14 different countries between 12 and 18 years old. We have worked together over the course of 2 months in 6 different groups. Throughout the project, we have discussed and reflected around a variety of different issues related to our online life. The groups that we have worked in are fake or real, human and ethical, mental health and disability, as well as 3 groups that worked with education and online life. We have had 8 meetings as well as 2 full-day meetings last week. On Thursday, we had a pre-session meeting with the industry and European Commission representatives, followed by a very interactive and fruitful discussion. We thank the industry and the European Commission for their valuable feedback and great dialogue. All videos that you will see today have been developed by us without any extra help. We have worked hard and hope that you find the result interesting and listen to our views regarding a better internet for kids. I would also like to thank you for being here today and that you take the time to listen to us. Thank you. I will now hand the word over to TJ.
Hello, everybody, and I'd like to thank you again for all joining us here today. And I will be introducing our first group, Group A, Fake or Real. Now, as we all know, fake information, fake news has been very, very prominent nowadays. So Group A will show us how exactly we can identify it on the internet and what to do with it. Group A, up to you.
Thank you, TJ. My name is Alice and I will be presenting for Group A. Our group is Fake or Real, and it's made up of me and Mia, who are from Ireland, Arimas, who's from Lithuania, Piero, Virgil, and Baptiste, who are from France. We chose this topic because we feel that fake news is a massive problem amongst the youth today, and not just the youth, but anyone with access to the internet. Our video hopefully will show you safe and helpful ways to tell fake news from real. And just the video is interactive, but for the purpose of this presentation, we're just going to be selecting the wrong answers. Thank you.
Oh my god, that was such a cool day. I'm so excited to get back inside and just relax. Take my shoes off, put my bag down, and then head on upstairs. Hang my jacket up. Oh, I just want to go inside and sit down and just relax with my phone. Oh, Instagram. That's nice. Oh, I like that. Now, to check the headlines. What looks interesting? Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't believe that's true. Wow. Now, to check the headlines. Oh my god. That was interesting, but... Wait. That's not true though, because it comes from a biased source. Yeah, it's not true. When reading articles or watching videos, we need to follow all of these points to stay safe. Hope you enjoyed our video. Thank you.
You do. Thank you for watching our video. We hope you learned something from it. We'll hand you back over to TJ now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And thank you, Group A or Fake or Real, for presenting your video. Now for Group B. Group B will be talking about the human and ethics side of the internet. Now, as we all know, the internet often tends to not always follow the same rules as you would in person. A lot of hate speech, a lot of everything like that happens to come around. So Group B will be covering human and ethical and how to keep following all that on the internet. Group B, off to you.
So we are from Iceland, Norway, Austria, Malta, and Ireland. Our group is human rights and ethics. And we chose this group because the topic is not talked enough about and the problem is just getting worse. It is not acceptable that people are getting harassed online for only being different. Being different should not have any effect on how we're treated in the media. Human rights and ethics are being forgotten online, which must change because it applies equally online and offline, so our voices need to be heard. And now we can play the video.
So we all know you can do horrible things on the internet that can cause tremendous damage. But what are those problems and what can you do against them?
Human rights are just as important in real life as they are online. And the truth is that human rights are more often than not being respected on the internet. Things such as discrimination, Judging people based on their race, weight, disability, or even sexuality should not exist online, but we see this everywhere, whether it's in the comment section, algorithms, or someplace else. Minority groups should always be treated with the same respect, whether it's online or in real life, and we all have to work together to make the internet a safe space for everyone.
The reality is that the world's youth isn't being educated in how to be ethical online, and this is a massive problem that needs to change. Governments, corporations, it's time that you take a stand and make this change. Give the young people the education that we need in order to make a positive difference to the online world. Alongside the European Ethics Committee, I think we can make a massive change for the better. Education is our only hope to fix a problem that challenges every single one of us.
In conclusion, we can say that ethics means moral principles that govern a person's behavior, and that human rights are a right that is believed to belong to every person justifiably. Discrimination while online is still a very big problem. Weight, race, as well as sexuality are some of the most targeted subjects. We need a change in the education system. This is because children nowadays aren't being educated on ethics and rights while online.
Yes, so to kind of sum this up, we can say that human and ethical lines such as hate comments, bullying, discrimination, and so on, it has been a problem for as long as the internet has been around. And many countries have already acknowledged the problem, but we still have a far way to go globally if this problem is to get any better. So we hope that this initiative of ours, that we are able to start this conversation with you guys across borders, and that with our video it made you think, and that we can globally start to take a bigger stand against the fight against violence online. And then I can send the word back to TJ. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Group B. That was a great presentation you guys did. That gave us a lot to think about. Now for Group 3, mental health and disability. Mental health and disability is a big thing with the internet, because on the internet, you can often have a lot of help, especially when it comes to mental health. Disabilities are unfortunately often made fun of. Again, with mental health, isn't always taken seriously on the internet as well. Mental health and disability will take a stand and give you guys a look at what has happened on the internet. Group C, up to you guys.
Hi, we are Group 3, Mental Health and Disabilities. We are 10 teens from Norway, Iceland, Ireland, Austria, Italy, and Luxembourg. Molly and Sanna will explain the video further.
Hi, my name is Sunna, and the video we chose to make be a part of this topic because we think that there's a lot of discrimination against those who struggle with mental health and those who are disabled. So please, Molly, take over.
Hi guys, I'm Molly. So our video focused on, like Sunna said, mental health and disabilities. In modern Ireland today and all around Europe and all around the world, disabilities and mental health is being discriminated constantly. Mental health, especially in this year, has been quite irrelevant because of the pandemic, and the suicide rates have went up. This is why we decided to make a video to spread awareness and change perspective of mental health. Now play the video, please. Thank you very much.
mental health problems aren't jokes, and jokes about disabilities aren't funny.
People who are disabled and people who struggle with mental health often face discrimination. That has to stop. We cannot keep going this route and survive as a human race. Please join us in ending all harassment and hate.
So from watching our video, you can see all the negative things that are being said about mental health, which we think is wrong because people who suffer with mental health are very strong and should be put forward in a more positive way. And we are proud of every person that has struggled with mental health. And that's why we thought this video would be good to help people understand the real truth about people who suffer with mental health and have disabilities. I'd like to pass over to Sona now that will talk to you a bit more about the disability side. Thank you very much.
The part about disabilities, I myself am autistic, and I would like to just say, please, all of you who are watching this, to help to join me in the neurodiversity revolution. I will type it now in the chat what neurodiversity means. And I would like to thank you for watching. And I will pass on to TJ. I will also be in the chat ready to answer any questions, so please ask. Thank you, TJ. Go ahead.
So I think I was going to present the next few groups that we're going to present. So our next group is group 4, and they're all part of the next few groups. Actually, are all part of the future of the internet. So this group is going to focus mainly on the education on and off the internet, and basically how the different kind of education works kind of during this quarantine and kind of how to improve it. So I'll hand it over to group 4, the future of the internet.
So hello everyone, we would actually like to start with our video right now.
Hello everyone, this is our team. We are all from different countries all over Europe, and today I, Anna, will be presenting with the help of Catherine and Asia.
All of us are still in school, so education is a big part of our lives. That is why the theme of this presentation is education, both on and off the internet.
One of the most underdeveloped parts of our education is sexual education. That is why we chose this as an example for our presentation. Because it is such an important topic, we hope that this will help to improve it and help schools and companies view sexual content and education in a different light. The internet is a wonderful place to learn if you do it right. For example, a platform called Webtoon has a comic called Boo! It's Sex, which covers a lot of different topics, from sexual education to sexuality. Also, shows like Sex Education on Netflix can help learn about the topic too, and this is not all. Educational videos from experts teaching kids from a young age about sex can really help them and the society in the long run.
Sadly, there are also bad parts of education online, such as porn. A lot of people go to porn to learn about sex, but porn is not education, it's entertainment, and they should not be mixed. That is why learning about sex from porn can be very harmful for people of all ages. Sexualizing people is also a really terrible thing, which is very widespread. From kids' TV shows to social media, everyone, especially the younger generation, is exposed to it. And if we don't change something, people will start thinking it's not a big deal to sexualize someone, when in reality it is. Luckily, we still have time to change it.
But a lot of issues also come from people not knowing how to use the internet properly. That is why education of the internet also is extremely important. Schools should invest time on making a better syllabus on the internet and especially on the dangers of the internet. A lot of kids these days post plenty of personal information, such as addresses, names, numbers, and even nudes, not knowing how harmful it can be for them in the future, so teaching them how to use different platforms without causing harm to them or others is super important.
We really hope you take note of the points we brought up and try to help us improve this situation in the future.
So, hello everyone. It's really, education is a big part of our lives, especially now when we're students. And recently, especially during quarantine, we have done a lot of our studying online because we didn't have the chance to go to school. And we all have noticed that education online is a lot different and has a lot of different parts, good and bad too. So that's why we made this video on and chose sexual education, one of the most underdeveloped parts and less talked about parts of our education. And we really hope that you take our points into mind because we think it's really important for companies, schools to understand that we can learn a lot of things online and it's really helpful, but there are also good and bad parts, which we have to keep in mind. And now Katrin will talk about education off internet.
So, especially with the sex education, it is obviously very important that kids get the education offline, but there's also resources online which can be good for sexual education. So we need to promote that more on the platforms, and we ask all the companies here online now to promote the good education that you have there, and also like the workshops, it's important to also talk about the sexual education. So yeah, thank you.
Hello, so thank you very much. So our next group is Group 5, and they are also a future internet group, and they're more doing the timeline of technological and communicative advancement. So they're more talking about what would happen if we keep on going as we are with technology, if technology keeps evolving and keeps going on. So I'll give you to the future internet the timeline of technological and communicative advancement.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you, Mia. We are Group E2, the timeline of technological and communicative advancement group. I am Doreen and I'm from Italy, Jorge from Spain, and Edgar from Lithuania, Fatima from Austria, and Yevgeny from Malta. All of you have to know that our work was based more on questions than on facts, and we focused more on the question, are we going to be able to go on the same pace as the growing speed of the internet and technology? Are we going to be able to live with it? We explored and we are continuing to explore technology and communication between people in a timeline fashion. This helps us to see the shift towards digitalization. So sometimes, even though we don't know anything about the future, we always try to predict things about it. And our major question is, are we going to be safe in the future with the future technology? And now we will see the video.
Life in the good old days was pretty simple. People talked face to face and information took a long time to get from A to B. was difficult when the only means of communication was talking face to face. But in modern times, everything changed. People had to turn their world into a completely online world in the year of 2020.
It's 2020. Quarantine is taking a toll on the mental health and social life of every human being. The only thing keeping our social circles intact is social media and digital entertainment. People are bored inside, they seek to get fresh air, but COVID-19 restrictions force them to stay in. Adults work inside their own homes, children have online school on awful computers. This perfectly fits into the narrative that the world went completely digital. Before the pandemic, people took offline world socializing for granted.
Since 2020, technology has evolved at an exponential rate. People are being dependent on it for every single aspect of their day-to-day life. Once, we lived in the countryside, then in the cities, but we will end up living on the net. People have become accustomed to growing up on the internet to lead them. AI could be a tool, but it can also be a threat. We need to be cautious about how much we trust the internet and how we want it to affect our lives. Where will it take us in the decades to come?
Okay, so now I want to explain why did we film the video in this fashion and what did we just watch. So predicting the future is actually a really hard thing to do. So we usually look into the past to try to look for some patterns that may help us make educated guesses. For example, we took the aspect of communication to show how technology interacts with humanity. For example, in the first part, we didn't have any technology to speak of, but as time progresses, we invented new means of communication which helped us to get around easier. And also, we try to explore other forms of technology to emphasize the interaction of the internet, because internet is being really closely linked to technology, and trying to give you open-ended questions so you can think about it and try to guess yourselves what the future may hold. That's why we left it with the final question of we need to figure out how much technology wants to influence us. So everyone should think about it, how much they use their technology, because everyone took offline socializing for granted, but since now we're in quarantine, everyone's already sick of technology. So we need to figure out a balance that will help us to understand how much we want for tech to influence our lives and to help us moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So that was our 5th video. So our next group is group 6, and they are also a future of the internet group, but they are more doing the teacher education. So they are doing kind of focusing on education, and especially on how, obviously during this virus, and how teachers didn't really know how to access the internet or how to work their things, and they'll be focusing on education during these hard times. So I'll hand you over to that for group 6.
Hello, we are group E3. We are from Italy, Greece, Luxembourg, and Spain. We chose this topic, teacher education, because we can see the problem that an outdated school system causes, since we experience the problem firsthand. We also care a lot about our future, so our video will show that to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Adrian and I'm gonna be one of your presentators today, so let's begin. Undoubtedly, technology has become one of the most important things in our lives, especially in the last few years, since huge advances have been made. Education is a perfect example of this, or isn't it? Well, anyway, my friends are calling me since we had to do a school project, so let's see what they want. Hello everyone, how's the
Yo,
project going?
dude.
Hi, Adrian.
Well, I really don't know what you expect us to do in this poor situation we're currently in. Like, is it just me, or does everyone keep lagging out and buffering like crazy?
No, it's definitely not you. I was in my maths class earlier and my teacher could not get her microphone to work and she kept yelling at us like it was our fault. I mean, she's the one that can use a computer for the life of her.
Same. My math teacher has no idea what he's doing. It's so annoying that my classmates are taking advantage of it too.
Well, I get what you mean, but in the end, I think it's just about cooperation. Like, maybe if we help the teachers on how to use technology and like how stuff works, maybe they could help us make it work like in a constructive way without getting too much distracted.
Well, but it's not their fault. I mean, nobody has teach them how to use it. So, well, I don't know. If probably it's just the system fault.
Yeah, I agree with Adrian. It's definitely the school system at fault because it has stayed the same for decades, even though technology evolves every day. I mean, I think what we should do is update the school system and involve technology. Do you agree, Liana?
Hey, I'm your second host, Kevin here. Quick questions before you leave us. Did you give it a good listen? Do you agree with the young guns' voices, or do you have something to say? Well, let me tell you, as a matter of fact, if you listen and follow their advices, this is what you get. But if you don't listen to them, that's your result. I'm your second host, Kevin, and I thank you for watching our video.
So, we hoped you liked our video. We are waiting patiently for your feedback in the chat. So, a few words about why we picked this subject and what was the video you just saw. So, we made our video to show you the problems we are having right now as students in 2020 with COVID-19 and online classes. So, a problem we mainly tackled in our video is technological problems. Our teachers not knowing how to use the internet and other bits like that. So, there's more to it. We know it's not the teacher's fault. What we think is at fault is our very, very outdated school system. So we have a saying in which says σχολείο είναι το δεύτερο σου σπίτι. Translating that, school is your second home. Home, of course, means family. And what does family do exactly? Family helps the child through socialization. Of course, that's, socialization means adjustment to society, and it helps the person form a well-rounded personality and become an educated adult. But what should we teach? What should we be taught to become educated adults? Of course, we are taught math, physics, science, which are all very important. But what we are not taught is how to have a filter on and off the internet, how to know fake from real. We're not educated on mental illness might have or people around us that we love have, physical or mentally. we're not taught how to be ethical. We're not taught how to be kind, empathetic, human. We're not taught about sexual education. We're not taught about technology. Technology at schools is still seen as something very problematic, something not good, which is very wrong because technology right now is one of the most powerful tools we have. So topping all of that off, my group and our video is trying to tell you to teach teachers how to teach on and off the internet and update the school system. Thank you so much for listening and watching our video. I'm giving the mic to Selena.
Hello everyone. I would really like to talk about the questions what you were asking in the chat. There were a lot of interesting conversations. Like I really liked that everyone liked our videos. I'm really thankful for your comments for our videos. And Barbara asked one important question to the mental health and disability group, which they also already answered, but I really liked the question, and I think it's also important what they were asking. And the question was how one cannot see that the person has a mental health problem, so how to react online if you have no idea. And Suna answered like you just need to be nice to everyone, so it's not an excuse if someone has a mental health problem that you should be nice in the internet, but also with everyone else. And also Molly answered, yes, we understand that it can be hard to identify someone that suffers mental health. That's why we create this video, to show things that people say that might affect people's mental health, to reduce the chance of offending someone. So I really liked what the group said, and also the answer was correct, was good, explained what we want to say for the internet. And thank you everyone for your amazing answers and for your amazing questions. Then I will give back to Sabrina.
I believe we are have one more contribution from Billy.
So I'm just going to conclude. We've reached the end, and I really hope this has been a valuable experience for everyone. We just there should be a slide about menti.com. We want you just to insert the code and tell us what you've taken from today, just so that we get feedback on the videos and the presentations. I'll wait a few minutes to see the results, I assume. Okay, so there's some coming in now. They said thought-provoking, impressive, inspiring, youth rocks. Cooperate with t-shirts, impressive, youth rocks, initiative, youth its power, thought-provoking. Yeah, so all these words that are coming back now is exactly what we've kind of been trying to achieve. So what we really wanted from today was that you take something after this session, something from our messages that we've worked so hard on, and make a change with it. As a panel, we have aimed to raise awareness and to make a difference, to make a positive change. And as youth representatives, We have portrayed through our videos issues that we all face on a daily basis. They're all issues that can be so many people's reality and concerns for so many young people. So they're not just videos, they're reality, and that's what we've been trying to achieve. So yeah, that's what we want. So please, all we ask is that you take today, you remember something important that we said, just one, that's all we ask, and you make a positive change to the online world and to everybody else's lives, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together, and we need to be able to support each other if we want to make the online world a better place for everyone. So thank you, everyone, and I'll let Sabrina finish up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Billy, and thank you very much to all the BIK Youth panelists of 2020. I hope everyone who's watching this is applauding in front of their screen. You guys have done an amazing work, and you're such a talented group of young people, and it was a pure joy for me to work with you over the past month. You are inspiring, you're committed. It's very impressive to see, and I will truly miss our weekly meetings, but I'm very, very confident that all of you will continue making sure that the voice of young people is heard. That said, thank you everyone for joining today's site event. What a great kickoff of the Safer Internet Forum week. And as you know, there are many, many other sessions waiting for you this week. Already this afternoon, if you're interested, at 2 Central European time, there will be an open space networking opportunity where you will be able to network on very different topics with your colleagues. And I believe you have received the according Zoom link in your inbox already. For those of you who are not able to join us this afternoon, we do hope to see every one of you back tomorrow morning at 10 Central European time for the main event and the opening keynote of the Safer Internet Forum. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and see you very soon again. And thank you once again to all the amazing young people joining us this morning. I know many of you have also been attending and contributing in the chat. It's absolutely a joy and pleasure to work with you. Thank you very much and see you soon.